For any transport sale performed within the framework of an Interline agreement, there is a validating carrier on which the ticket will be issued and an operating carrier that will provide the transport. The validating carrier can issue the ticket by using either the BSP, ARC for the USA, or TCH for Russia, or directly on its website or in its own offices. The operating carrier bills the validating carrier once the flight coupons have been used on its flights, as it is explained in the course on the money flow. The proper application of the Interline agreements requires a few elementary precautions, in particular with regard to the operating airline. It must ensure that the flight coupons of a third-party airline are identified while passing through the boarding gate. In particular, it is necessary to transfer the electronic coupons that make up the vast majority of travel tickets used from O open status to that of F flown. Once this operation is performed, the flown coupons must be transmitted by the quickest channels to the revenue accounting. This service must be in-house at the airline or subcontracted to a specialized company. It is highly recommended that small and medium-sized airlines subcontract this operation, since subcontractors are well informed with regard to the practices and systems that calculate the value of flight coupons. This avoids rejections by the validating airline, and this consequently speeds up the receipt of revenue. The Revenue Accounting Department must receive by all means, especially electronically, all flown coupons. First, the Revenue Accounting Department analyzes the flight coupons by identifying the amount to invoice per coupon, either by reading the ticket when the fare breakdown is indicated, or by the application of the IATA PMP rules for the gross fare amount and RATD for taxes. See IATA website. There are two features. The provisio, this is the minimum amount required by the carrier, whatever the breakdown expected by the PMP is. It is deposited in the ATP Co database. The SPA, Special Prorate Agreement, this is the amount agreed upon between the validating carrier and the operating carrier regarding a route and a reservation class. Issuance of the invoice corresponding to the delivery to the ICH for the member airlines, otherwise delivery to the operating airline's head office. The Revenue Accounting must receive all the tickets issued and, upon request, check the receipt of the sales, accounts receivable. It will also analyze the flight coupon and check the status of the tickets if it is the validating and operating carrier. It must receive the operating airline's invoices and check the status of the flight coupons and the value of the flight coupons based on the Interline agreements. Finally, Revenue Accounting issues the refusals during the 5 months following the billing of the coupons and release of the corresponding memos. There are relatively few suppliers of revenue accounting. We name a few on the screen that you're looking at. These are the primary ones, but there are also other companies capable of supplying an equivalent service. The operating airline must bill the validating airline within 4 months following the ticket's use, according to the format validated by IATA. The overall invoice should include the detailed list of coupons with the ticket number, the coupon number, the gross fare of the coupon, the amount of the Interline service charges, ISC in general 9% unless contrary provision, the amount of taxes, the total per coupon, gross fare less the ISC plus taxes. The operating airline collects its invoices either directly, the operating carrier sends its invoice to the validating carrier. This is the case when one of the two airlines is not part of the ICH, Interline Clearinghouse, or via the SIS, Simplified Interline Settlement. The operating carrier files its invoice on the SIS website, www.isweb.iata.org. This is the case when the two airlines are members of the SIS. The payment is made directly by the validating carrier with the operating carrier. or via the ICH/ACH. The operating carrier files its invoice on the SIS website. The operating carrier is paid through clearing in the ICH. This is the case when the two airlines are members of the ICH. In order to benefit from the system, the airlines must be ICH members. It must complete the application form, see the IATA website, and comply with the following conditions. For the non-IATA airline, either by only being a META member with a $5,000 deposit for access, a $50,000 deposit to be able to bill passengers, and a $25,000 deposit to be able to bill cargo. Or by being a META member and being sponsored by one IATA airline that is an ICH member with a $5,000 deposit for access, plus pay the annual fees invoiced 4 times per year, provide the airline's bank coordinates, choose the receiving currency for payment, GBP, USD, Euro, IATA airline, complete the form, $5,000 deposit, pay the annual fees invoiced 4 times per year, provide the airline's bank coordinates, choose the receiving currency for payment, GBP, USD, Euro. The month is divided into 4 periods of P1 to P4. See calendar established by IATA. The calendar sets the final dates for submitting invoices in relation to the payment dates. Submission of invoices, period 1, 2 days after the close of P1, the advice day occurs. IATA sends an email to each ICH member indicating either the amount that IATA owes the airline or the amount that the airline owes IATA. The airlines have access to the IATA notice details on the IS website. The airlines have 3 days to object. Once the deadline is passed, the airline that owes money have 2 days to pay. Failing payment after 3 days following the deadline, the airline is suspended from the ICH/ACH. The airlines that receive money are credited 2 days after the payment date by the debiting airlines. Let's take, for example, the period 1, P1.
The end of period 1 equals J.
The submission of invoices is made between J5 and J3. The advice day occurs between J+2 to J+4. The dispute between J+5 to J+7. The payment by the debiting airlines occurs between J+5 to J+9. The payment deadline before airline suspension is made between J+8 to J+12.
And the receipt of the money for the crediting airlines between J+7 to J+10.
Rate agreements between 2 airlines with an interline agreement. Before reaching an interline agreement with another airline, it is good to be aware of a few mechanisms that are going to govern the revenue collected by each of the carriers. There are 2 possibilities. Either the airlines agree to accept the addition of their rates regardless of the reservation class. In this case, the coupons are priced based on each airline's legislation. Airport taxes are thus calculated automatically by the GDS. For the YQ tax, in which the airline can put more or less what they want, it is applied based on the fare loading that the airline will have done by the carrier through ATP Co. Or the airlines agree to create special rates or SPAs, and in this case, each airline informs the other of the amount that it agrees to receive. The validating airline thus charges the end-to-end rates according to the fares loaded. This system is used to acquire traffic in a universe where competition is intense. If there is no rate agreement between 2 carriers, the applicable rates within the framework of interline travel are set by IATA according to the reservation class. They are in general very high and used very little in case of a confrontation with the competition. They can, however, be useful for very minor traffic flows. The interline is one of the major characteristics of air transport and has been a major factor in its development. For both passengers and agents, it is a safety factor since the carriers accept certain operating or rate constraints in order to facilitate the passengers' travel. Now, this can go from a particularly competitive rate, in the case where SPAs are created, to end-to-end registration. Facilities, passengers, and luggage if an agreement exists between the carriers. Finally, in case of any missed connection, the second coupons is not lost, which can be the case if the client holds two separate tickets. The airlines have understood since the beginning of air transport the interest of the Interline. It enables them to expand their range of destinations even if they do not operate the flights made by their partners. As a result, this leads to the creation of additional revenue originating in countries where the operating airline is not present. Finally, it is a convenient way to retain clientele to whom the carrier can offer a network that is much larger than its own operations.